Hello and welcome to another video with Jasmine Rempel Art. Today I am wanting to create something like this, a snow couple in a nice forest scene. Here's another one. So to do that, I'm going to start by masking out my snow people. I've created a horizon line and I've done a small sketch. So I have here a number 4 round. I have some masking fluid and I have some Ivory Soap and a little dish of water. I put my brush in the water and then I roll it around in the Ivory Soap, and then I put it into the masking fluid. The reason I use Ivory Soap is so that the bristles don't get covered in, the masking fluid doesn't stay on the bristles, it won't dry on, and that way I preserve my brush. All right, I'm just beginning to mask in this snow lady or snow girl. My plan is it's a couple, and they're holding hands with just a impression of the forest behind them. I'm doing this card for a commission. Someone has ordered some cards from me for Christmas, and they've asked for some snow couples. So this is one of them. What this masking fluid will do is save the white of the paper when I apply the background colors. And I want the freedom to apply the background colors in a very loose and wet way. And I don't want to have to work around my positive shapes, my snow people. By masking them out, I can actually paint right over top of them. And when I lift off the masking fluid later, I'll have saved these white shapes. The masking fluid will resist the paint. Much like the masking tape does on the sides of the painting, the masking tape on the sides will save really nice crisp white borders. When I lift off the masking tape, it looks really nice. The tape has 2 purposes. 1, to create nice white borders. 2, to hold down the card. Once I get the background quite wet, the paper, which has cotton in it, it rises as it absorbs the water, and sometimes it will buckle. So when it's taped down, it's just a lot easier to work on. Cute little snow hat. I'm rinsing my brush, and every time I rinse it, I apply more soap before I dip it in the masking fluid. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to use this brush again with masking fluid, and I'm going to tap on some snow. When I paint my background, all these little white masking fluid dots will come off and save the white of the paper, giving the appearance of snowfall. Okay, now I need to let this dry, and once it's dry, I will begin to put a background color on. So I'll stop the video for a moment. Okay, my masking fluid is dry now. While it was drying, I took the time to mix up some background colors. So I have here little piles of color. Here's Prussian blue with a mixture of viridian green, some Payne's gray, and some sap green. These are the colors I'm going to use in the background. All of these are Windsor Newton watercolors, a professional level, and they come from a tube. To start, I'm going to use this Princeton Velvet Touch flat wash brush to just get my background wet. Going right over the masking fluid, snow figures. I want my background to be saturated. The paper is absorbing. This is Strathmore watercolor paper. It's actually a card, and it's a cold-pressed watercolor card. I purchased Strathmore cards from Amazon in large sets. Okay, my paper is nice and wet, so now I'm going to use this number 8 Princeton round brush, and I'm going into my viridian green and Prussian blue mixture, and I'm going to add some color and encourage it to run. Upwards. I'm also going to go into the sap green to get some different hues, some warm colors in there. I'm just applying it here and there, more intuitively than with anything particular in mind. It's already, my card is already starting to dry. I'm going to persuade some of that up and just add some water to encourage it to continue to bleed. Now I am using just straight Payne's gray. That's quite diluted. up in the sky area here. Pulling it down. Looks a bit messy now, but it sure won't be once it's completed. Okay, I'm actually going to completely turn my board now with my card on it and let this bleed upwards. Turn it to the side, letting the colors blend, wiping off some drips off the tape. Turn it to the other side. Back up. Now I'm mixing Payne's gray with viridian green and a bit of Prussian blue for some very dark valued hues. Applying them here and there. And I'm going to get a little spritzer. Spray a little bit of water to help it to continue to run. That's nice. Turn it to the side. And to the side again. Have a look. I feel like I want some to go all the way to the edge, to the top. I want it to run all the way down. Tap in a bit more color. Help it to do so. This is a patient process, and it's well worth the patience. Turn it. I think that's good. Okay. Actually, I feel like I want to add some darks right in here. The idea is that it's trees in the background. Once it finishes blending and bleeding out. All right, now I'm getting my number 4 brush, round brush, and I'm going into my white gouache, mixing a bit of water in it, and I'm just going to tap some of that on to give the effect of snow or light. And I'm getting some kosher salt. I'm just going to splatter a little bit on. And I need to give this time now to set. And when I dry it, I'm going to make sure to dry it on a flat surface. All right, I'll see you soon. Okay, it's now dry and it's time to remove the masking fluid and salt. I'm using some rubber cement to do that. Great. Okay, so I'm going to begin to paint in my snow people. I'm going to start by just getting this area wet. And I have to decide where my light source is going to come from. I think I'll have it come maybe from the right. And I will use some Prussian blue with some Payne's gray for my shadow color. Quite diluted. Just tap it in here. And let it bleed out. I'm just using my brush to lift up a bit from here. There we go. This is my number 6 round. I'll use that for these bottom balls. Again, just tapping that in, the color, and letting it bleed. Giving the impression of shadow on one side. I'm changing now to my number 4 round. Go into the face here. And I'll do exactly the same thing. Wet and tap. And let it bleed out. And in this face, tapping. And the center needs to dry, so I'm picking up my number 6 brush again, and I'm going to create a cast shadow. So I have quite a dark mixture of the Prussian blue and the Payne's gray. going to follow the edge of this snowball, pull it out, and clean my brush. Now I have just a wet brush, and I'm going to use it to pull some of that paint. It'll gradate into a lighter color this way. Cleaning my brush again, and there we are. I'll do the same with this snowball. Cleaning my brush, it's just wet. Pulling that out. And dragging it along. There we go. It's bleeding up a little bit into here because it was not completely dry. So I just put my thirsty brush here. I call it thirsty when it's just dry. It's going to suck up some of that pigment. And I'll have to accept that it will look a little bit, there, I fixed it. I was going to say it will look a little odd, but it doesn't after all. Just lift some of this as well. Good. All right, time for the tummy areas. Again, just getting it wet. And tapping in some color. There we go. So peaceful to paint. It's so quiet in here. I am a grade 2 teacher. I work full-time, and this is what I like to do after work. I like to come in my art studio and just paint. I particularly use watercolors and make cards because it's not a big commitment. It's a small enough art project that I can do in an evening. In the summers, I like to paint with acrylic on canvas and take the time to do bigger paintings. All right, I'll let that dry, and while it's drying, I will add some color to the hats. I'm going to pick a pink. This is a permanent rose. Permanent rose is really just very pretty. It looks quite striking against that green-blue background. I'm going to lift a little of the edge to suggest a lighter side. And I'm going to add a little blue to suggest a darker side. right, on this side, I will give this snow person, maybe I'll do a green hat. I'll use the sap green, pure sap green, and I'll add a little yellow to it to warm it up. So I've got sap green here with some cadmium yellow medium. Again, I'm still using my number 4 round. It's got a lovely tip so I can get good effects with it. There we go. And while I'm doing this, I'll get his, oh no, not his scarf yet because the middle is not dry. And if I do that, that green will bleed everywhere into the work that I just did. All right, I lifted off a little edge to suggest a lighter side again. I'm going to now get my smallest brush. This is a Windsor Newton Cotman round, and it's 00, so it's tiny. It's great for little details. I am going into my Payne's Gray, and I'm going to create some eyes and a smile. And Payne's Gray again, and I will give him also some eyes, looking at her, and a smile. He's thinking, how did I get so lucky to get such a wonderful snow girl? And I'm going to mix up some cadmium yellow medium with some cadmium red medium to create an orange to give them noses, little carrot noses. So here I go. First carrot nose, second carrot nose. Perfect? No. Cute? Yes. Hers is huge. Oh boy, that's definitely bigger than I wanted. I'm going to see if I can lift it. I can. I lifted that, and now I'm going to get this area wet and lift it again by dabbing on my paper towel. That's better. I'll wait for it to dry and then I'll try her nose again. And in the meantime, I'll reapply a little more color to his. There we go. Now I will give him some buttons. He's going to be facing her, and she is going to be facing him. Good. And then I think, no, still not dry enough to do the scarves. So I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to a few areas while I'm waiting. Just here where the one snowball touches another. Add some blue and then pull it out. And again on his. Add some blue, pull it out. This is actually a mixture of the blue-gray that I use down here. And now his neck area, same thing. Actually, I might wait for this because I am going to put a scarf there, so there's no point to do that. Instead, I'm going to get a nice dark value and run it along the very base here, and then use my brush that's cleaned off to pull this out. There we go. And again with his along the base, and the same thing, soften the edge, some water. Nice. Just touch it up here as well. All right, let's try her nose again. Right here. There. It's going to have to do. Okay. Almost time to put some arms on. First, I'm going to wet this snowball here and add a little bit of shadow. And do the same for the rim of her hat. And the same for his snowball. Actually, I feel like I want his to be yellow, so I'm actually going to make it that color. Just brighten it up a bit. That's really nice. And a beautiful yellow. That is the cadmium medium. Lift a little. Okay. Now I can do the scarf. Sap green, cadmium yellow. Bring it in around. And just bring that down. And on this side too. There we go. And great. She needs one. Back into that permanent rose. Pulling it down. And another. I'll lift a little here, lightening this edge. Add a little blue to this edge, darken it up, a bit of shadow. I like that. I feel like her nose needs another layer. And under her hat, a little bit of a shadow here. Soften the edges. Under his hat, same thing. And again, soften the edges. There we go. Under the scarves. A little bit of a cast shadow here. And there we are. Nice. Okay, let's give them some arms. I'm using burnt umber in the blue Payne's gray mixture. Going to have them holding hands here. Holding stick hands. And there we go. All right, I'm going to get some shapes in the snow. I'll take some of my blue mixture and I'll add just a touch of purple to it. Actually, I'm going to add some of that permanent rose to it. And that will, there we go. Adding a little bit of texture to the snow. Good. Maybe even a slight sheen of yellow. Just a little. Okay, now I have my number 4 and I'm adding some water to my white gouache. I'm going to tap this. Adding a lot more snow. And last but not least, I am going to sign this and call it finished. Let's peel back the tape and have a look. And there we have it. Another beautiful watercolor card on its way to make someone's season just a little bit brighter. Thank you for joining me today. Please send me a note if you enjoyed the tutorial And if you've created your own snow people, send me a picture. I would love to see your work. All the best. Bye for now.